Here we have a display on the Jondaryan Base Line. Now, before they could map a country, they had to actually establish a triangulation network. In other words, mountaintop to mountaintop, triangles of known distances on the sides, and down on the plains they'd measure a baseline between 2 points, say 7 miles between that hill, across the plain, up to that hill, 7 miles long. And in those days they'd measure them with steel bars and steel tapes and all sorts of things. It was a very time-consuming process. And they laid the first one on the Jondaryan Plain in 1883, which is out near Dalby. And they measured between Mount Maria and Mount Irving. And we have photographs of the team with their measuring equipment inside those wooden boxes, because the chain in there is protected from the sun and the wind, so you've got an exact answer. So that's why you see a wooden box and not a survey tape in there. And so they measured this line. We came along in the 1970s with our laser beams and measured between the two ends of this baseline and got exactly the same answer, almost 100 years later. They took 12 months to measure this baseline, backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. We took 1 day. A cut lunch in Brisbane, drove to Dalby, climbed the mountains, flashed the laser beam, came down, had a cup of tea and came back. So 1 day later we had the same answer they got 100 years later. But anyway, the good thing about that is we actually have the survey marks, the sandstone blocks that they put along this baseline, and we actually have these instruments that calibrated the chains that measured the baseline. So again, it's a matter of not only do we have baseline photographs, pictures of the surveyors, we actually have the instruments that they actually used on this survey. So the whole lot ties together. It's a very satisfying feeling. It's a closure. It's magic to have the actual instruments, the pictures of the surveyors using the thing, and the marks that mark the end of the baselines.